Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Let's Chat Reality. I'm Michael,
And I'm Molly.
and today we are here to discuss episode 9 of Survivor 49. The tribe is all back together, one happy family, and we are back together today with someone who we had last on the podcast almost a year ago, believe it or not, from the Reality Realness podcast and various RHEP podcasts all across the network. It's Chantele Francis. Chantele, how are you?
Oh my god, it's been a year. It went by
Almost.
quickly, but I'm shocked that it was that long ago that I came on last. I don't remember which episode we talked about, but I'm happy to be back talking about Survivor again.
Yeah, no, I think it was Traders last
Oh,
time
was it
actually, which
Traders?
like with January. So yeah, it's been a while, but it flew by.
It
This
definitely
year it
flew
flew
by.
by.
The Traders, huh? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm last
And
thinking
we
of
have a very
Survivor, but
exciting season of Traders coming up pretty soon here, which yes.
very
uh,
exciting.
yeah, but Chantel, how have you been? Any life updates since last time you were here?
Life updates. No. I mean, I work for an airline, and so the airline that I was originally hired for was acquired by another airline, and so since
Hmm.
then I did like training, and now I work for a new airline, and that's been
Okay.
kind of an interesting opportunity because with this airline I was able to spend most of my summer in Europe. So like I did like Dublin's a lot. I did a lot of London's where I got to stay there, which was awesome. And there's just like new routes that I never flew before, and it allowed me to also. It's called ID90, where it's kind of like an alliance with all the other airlines. So I'm able to like travel for pretty close to free, like anywhere like a partnering airline flies. So that's been pretty fun with like not thinking about it at all about going to these live shows because I'm like, I don't know, it's like two Ubers. Like it's fine for me to go. It's not as big a deal anymore. So that's pretty fun.
Yeah, fun. Two Waymos we were just talking about before we got on here.
Got to experience a Waymo. That's like something new
Yeah.
that's happened in my life. Terrifying, but
Yeah.
interesting.
Well,
Yeah, they're all
fun.
a little
Molly, now
crazier.
you, Molly, watched the episode last night at a premiere party. Mitch from last
Ooh.
season's party. Tell us about that. How was that?
Yeah, that was fun watching it with Mitch. He was hosting it with the Survivor Texas group here at UT. They have like a group called Survivor Texas. They just like do Survivor things, and they invited Mitch to come, and so I went to that. And then also as a surprise, Adrian showed up as well from Big Brother. So that was fun. And the episode was fun to watch it on the big screen with a bunch of other Survivor fans. It's always fun to watch it with like a whole group of people. And it was nice weather out. It was actually outside at a bar. So it
That's
was good that there was no rain last night, but now there's rain today. But it's good
nice.
it held off for the day.
Yeah, they knew to hold off for Survivor.
Yeah.
But let's get into this episode then. Chantel, before we do, just what are your thoughts on Survivor 49 as a whole? We're 9 episodes in, more than halfway through the season now. What have your thoughts been on the season?
I'll always love Survivor. I've been watching from the beginning. Like I like every iteration of Survivor. This season I really like the players, but I feel like I'm not really getting a chance to get to know them. And it could be because like this format is kind of played out. Starting with the three tribes of three like of six, and like one tribe is always going to tribal, so you only really focus on that tribe, so you don't really get to know the other people that much. And so like even for this episode, Yellow Sophie is so involved in the season, but her edit the first, six episodes, or I don't even know what episode we're on, like the beginning of the season, like it didn't really focus on her that much. And I'm like, she's been a pretty big player in these last couple episodes. So I guess I just wish that I was able to get to know these players a little bit better, and just kind of like the shaking around the tribes. Like, yeah, we wanted that one tribe swap where we went to two tribes. Like, okay, I was into that. And then we just shook it up again. And then we get to one tribe and then we shake it up again. I'm like, I kind of want to see what people can do with some numbers,
Right.
not to like, I want to see if people can get themselves out of sticky situations on a bigger tribe. And so I feel like this season is a little bit clunky, we'll say, in like being able to see people's gameplay and getting to know these people. Like I just feel like it's not very well balanced in that way. And I can't really imagine anybody deserving $1 million at this point. I'm just like, you're gonna get $1 million for surviving a tribe swap? I'm like, okay. So yeah, I feel like there's not a lot of like actual gameplay, which is what I really, really love about the show. Um, because it's a little bit more like gimmicky, a little bit more tribe swaps, a little bit more, stuff, as opposed to like, I just want to see the gameplay. So I like the characters, but I wish I got to see them play a little bit more and get to know them a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that the one thing I do like about multiple tribe swaps going into a merge is that it is interesting to me to see, like, okay, is this person going to be loyal to this person who they were on this tribe with, or this other person who they were on another tribe with? Like, I feel like them all kind of knowing most of each other going into the merge to a certain degree is interesting to me. But I do agree, it's very confusing. It's hard to remember who was on a tribe swap with somebody, and it's hard. It's like I remember the who was on the original tribes
Yeah,
together, and basically nothing else.
me too. I'm
So-
like, I don't know who swapped with whom else after that. I'm like, well, I don't know.
Right. So I feel
Like,
like it creates interesting dynamics in the game, but maybe confusing episodes to watch, if that makes sense.
exactly. And when
Yeah.
an episode's kind of confusing to watch, is it entertaining? I don't
Right.
know. When you're asking what's going on, like that's like you want to be able to follow the story. You want to be able to see the gameplay. You want to be able to understand like, oh, this person is doing like you want to be able to follow the story for it to be compelling and interesting. And I find when it gets too messy, it's just like it becomes background. Like I'm not like engaged in what's going on, and maybe that's kind of what my issue is with this season. But
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. Well, let's get into this episode then. So the castaways reunite when the losing team from last night's tribal comes back to camp. The other half of the tribe is shocked to see MC there, or MC voted out, and Yellow Sophie is there instead. And Sophie notices those reactions, and she leaves it kind of questioning who she can trust. Now, Molly, do you think that it was a mistake for the group to be so obvious about their reactions being shocked, or is Sophie kind of reading too much into it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised they were all like very noticeably like, "Ugh, why is Sophie back?" Like, we want MC, and I felt bad for Sophie though, because obviously that's not a good feeling for her to feel like, okay, like, do they even like me? Like, they don't want me here. But and then now, I mean, it's obviously now Sophie's gonna think, okay, who can I play with and who can I trust? So that's obviously if Hina wants to say Hina strong, they're not going to have Sophie now. So they're kind of losing that on their by their reactions being so strong. But I mean, they've. I feel like at this point in the game, like it's pretty clear that they were closer with MC as well. So it's like it's also that there's part of it too of like, well, it kind of was obvious, but also it's not great that they made it so obvious, even more so with their reactions.
if I were Sophie, though, I'd be so thrilled that I knew where I stood in the tribe without
Yeah.
finding out the hard way and be going home, right? Be like, oh my god, like you guys were after me, I had no idea. Like now she has an idea that people were coming for her, so she's armed now with information, which allows her to be able to play. And so I think it's definitely a lucky break for her that she's like that they wanted her to be gone, and they weren't very quiet about like their surprise that she was still there.
Yeah, and now she used that information that she has to then really gravitate towards Savannah and Rizzo and Blue Soph. And but do you think, Chantel, that this is the right move for her to now kind of gravitate towards the other outsiders, if you will? Or should she try to use the information to paint a bigger target on the outsiders' backs to try to take some of the heat off of her?
Well, I think at this point she can kind of play the middle a little bit, and I think that it's better for her to actually side with the outsiders because likely they're still going to be going for Savannah and Rizzo before her, and even Sophie before Soph before her. Um, and like if she plays in like that she's not that upset about it, and like, you know, like I get it, like I've been winning challenges, like whatever, like she could rationalize with them as to like and kind of smooth things over, even if she's kind of wanting to work with Savannah. And I think that she can gather more information and subtly play the middle, hopefully, like better than Alex does. Anyways, I think it's a good opportunity for her, and I think switching over and kind of working with the outsiders is probably better for her.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I feel like she doesn't know how powerful they are in terms of all the
Gadgets.
advantages and everything that they have. But I still do think that it's probably she can tell that like it's not like this other side is like so airtight strong. Like there's some people, there's the Sages and Joans of the world that could go either way. And so I feel like it's probably to her benefit to try to really latch on to that group now where she maybe isn't at the bottom, and there's maybe other people that will gravitate towards that direction that could, be further on the bottom than she is. And so I do think that it's the right move for her, like you said, to go
It's a
with them.
lucky move, like, to be on the bottom, or like to almost go out and then stay and be like, okay, I'm gonna choose a new route here. Let's just pivot. She
Hmm.
pivoted.
Yeah, it reminds me a bit of like Jag on BB25, where it's like he's voted out and then comes right back, and it's like, oh, well, now I know where I stood because you just all voted me out, and now I can change my game accordingly. And so
Absolutely.
it
Don't
kind of is
trust
a little
people
bit.
necessarily, you know, you just like, oh, like you were saying this to me before, but like I don't need to believe you now. And it also gives you
Mhm.
ammunition to go after people, because like sometimes you'd be like, oh, I don't want to do that because like, you know, I don't want to go after them because they would never go after me. But like, oh no, they would go after you. So like I can go after them now. It opens your game
Yeah.
up a lot, I find.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, let's go over to Steven. So, Steven confides in his fellow Bottoms Up Alliance member, Sage, that Christina found an idol. Now, Molly, we we talked about this last week because we were like, are they going to say anything? Are they going to keep the secret of Christina's idol? Well, the answer was no. It was very quickly. He did let the word out to one person. But Sage does promise to keep it a secret. She won't even tell Juwan about it, but do you think, Molly, that she will keep this secret, or is it eventually going to get potentially out to even Blue Soph, who can actually use that information to her advantage with her knowledge as power?
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because I feel like I want to believe that Sage won't tell anyone else, but it's also a game of Survivor, and like things will happen in the game that maybe there's going to be a time that she needs to build someone's trust with someone else, and then it's like, okay, I can give you this information if you promise to keep it. Like it can build and eventually get to Blue Sophie. So I don't know. I feel like I want this information to keep quiet though, because I want Christina's idol to stay like her own idol and not have it be spread across everyone. Like how Rizzo's idol is public knowledge across every single person on the tribe. So I want to say that it won't get there, but I feel like it could.
I want it to get to Blue Sophie. I want to. I have we ever seen the knowledge is power successful? Like I want to see it happen at least once.
Yeah, I don't think
Um,
we have.
like yeah, I don't think so.
Well, Parv, kind of. Not in the way that the
Oh,
knowledge of power is intended,
but
but it was
on CBS
successful.
Survivor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like I want to see it actually work out, and like the shocked faces of like,
Yeah.
because if it were to happen, Christina wouldn't have known that it had spread in order to
Yeah.
get to somebody that had knowledge as power. So I would like to see knowledge as power work and used.
I would too. I think that would be, and I wonder. I mean, spoiler. We'll get to this at the end, but like we see preview for next week, there's some shocked faces. So I do wonder if that is potentially the cause of those jury reactions. But we'll get
Yeah.
there. But yeah, no, I don't think that it's going to be kept a secret. I really don't. I think that that Sage maybe it won't be next week. Like I could see it. Her waiting a few days and then eventually the dynamics shift and change enough that that this is like her one piece of leverage that she can use to get somebody to trust her, and she blurts it out. But
But Christina might even do that because even this episode, she was
mhm.
trying to make some inroads with Soph, and
Yeah.
maybe the vote went one way, but maybe to get her to vote another way next episode, maybe that's when she might, spill some idol knowledge, and Sophie or Blue Soph will snipe that.
We will see. We will see. Yes.
Sorry, Molly. I wanted to happen. I
No,
get
I
it
mean
though.
I
Like,
do
don't
want
tell anybody, but yeah.
I do want Sophia to use it, but I don't want it to be on Christina.
Mm,
Like,
She's not
who
gonna
yeah.
else
use
can
it
get
on
Well,
power?
Christina's on
Yeah.
my draft team, so I don't know why you're so pro Christina, Molly.
No, I just love her. She's a great person.
Yeah, no, I
But
do love
Sophie is too, so I guess it's both wins, both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that there could be entertainment value both ways because I think it's like, right now it feels like Soph and Rizzo and Savannah have all this power, like with all their advantages, that like it could be fun for them to be blindsided by some other power that's in the game. Like I think that could be fun to watch, but also it could be very fun to see, Soph being able to use her knowledge power successfully with that knowledge. So
And I
either way,
also
we could be
think
in for fun.
Christina's side is a little bit bumbling, and they make a lot of mistakes and a lot of errors, and like
Mhm.
they're not really playing good Survivor in my opinion. So it would be fitting for Christina trying to gather numbers and gather people, and then just like yoink. I feel like it just would be fitting to how the season is going.
Yeah, I agree that it would feel very fitting to get that. Well, we get to the reward challenge next, and they are playing for fried chicken, fries, lemonade, and dessert, which sounds great to me, and I'm not even starving. But Savannah, Christina, Alex, and Yellow Sophie end up winning this reward, but Christina offers to give up her spot for Jawan, who hasn't won a reward in a long time. I think since the original tribe swap, I don't think he's won a reward challenge. I believe I could be mistaken, but that's from my memory.
They made it seem like he hadn't won any at all, but
Well, it may not have been food rewards. Like those early rewards may
oh,
have been like other types of rewards. But he did
or maybe
win
it's the
because like
fruit.
obviously the blue tribe was the one losing everything. So like he did win during that era, but I don't know that he got any food rewards during that time either. So this may have been his the first chance. But Jawan is initially reluctant to accept that reward, but eventually does. But Chantel, do you think that this moment from Christina was just pure good intentions? Or was there any part of it that was gameplay for her?
It all has to be gameplay, right? Like, and perception, like for people to think that she's generous and like is taking care of people, and she's maybe like the mother hen, and because like her being so selfless and giving this to Juwan, other people probably just don't think she was being as cutthroat as she could potentially be. And so I think that she is that person, and that was willing to give up her reward spot. But I do think that it was to have a perception of being maybe kinder and more selfless than she might be in the game of Survivor. So, yeah, I think it was a little bit calculated for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I could see it, but I do think that like 90 to 95% of it was just like I feel like she is just that person, like you
I
said.
rolled my eyes
Like,
though hard. I was like, oh, whatever.
like I just feel like Christina from like what we've seen. Like yes, she's a gamer. Like she definitely is a gamer, but I just think that also just from kind of like watching her preseason interviews and all that, like she's just is such like a pure good nice person that I'm like I feel like she sees anyone in that position like Joanne who hasn't eaten in 17 days or whatever we're at, and it's like oh no, come take my spot. Like I just think that that's something she would do like in the real world if she won some big thing and then there was somebody else who she could see was suffering and wanted to give that to them. Like I could just see her doing that outside the game. And so I feel like I don't know. To me, that's just kind of who she is.
Where do you stand, Molly?
I agree
Break the
with
tie.
Michael. Yeah, sorry, Chantal. I do think that I'm Team Christina on that. It wasn't just a gameplay. I think it was more personal wise, and she was even saying that like, oh, like as like her motherly instincts were coming in. I think that I know. I mean, I guess it is a little cringy too, but
It's so
it's
cringe.
but I thought it was
We're
sweet.
gamers though. Like,
Yeah.
we're those type that are like, no.
It's for $1 million. You're gonna give someone nourishment that, like, could potentially win these, solo immunities. I don't know. I don't know. I would never do it, and but I would do it in real life. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Yeah. But
That's fair.
I think we talked about this last season a bit too with Eva, that like people were just constantly giving her rewards. And it was like
that
you're
irritated me.
right. Like, you're nourishing her, and like these people want to get out the strong six, and it's like, but you're feeding them, you're giving them all this ammunition. And like, I think it's a little different here because it's like, okay, this is one time. You're giving Joanne his first reward. Like, this isn't going to probably make him like win the next immunity challenge versus like giving somebody rewards every 2 days and you're like, they never have to be hungry. But
It could be that I know you guys are super fans of her right now, but her Uncle Jay, like Uncle Jeff, like is just driving me up the wall, and so it just all of it together, like Uncle Jay, like I want to give like it just seems too contrived that I'm just like,
yeah.
and it could just be like the whole package of it all, and so I'm not be able to see it through maybe like her like generosity, like that lens. It's just like that I hate the Uncle Jay thing so much that like maybe it's just everything that she's doing in these performative kind of like spots is irritating.
Yeah, the Uncle Jay thing needs to stop.
It's
Like the Aunt
so
Julie,
annoying.
Uncle Jay, like we're starting a whole CBS family here, and I don't know how this started, but
Chelsea started with the Auntie
yeah,
Julie, and I was like, mm-mm, I don't like it either. Like so, like yeah, it's not working for me. It seems forced, pushed. Yeah.
yeah. It's just like I think like when people say, "Oh, this new era is too soft" and whatever, that's kind of the things where it's like, okay, maybe we are, maybe they're right. Like 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 we need to go back to people like almost being like a little afraid of Jeff, a little afraid, like there it's almost too like he's losing his power, by people just kind of like being a little too friendly.
Yeah, they're too close, too
Yeah.
chummy.
Well, Christina and Sage want to take out Savannah tonight, but they also want to flush Rizzo's idol. So Christina comes up with a plan. She wants to split the votes with four going on Savannah and the rest going on Rizzo. So she tells the plan to Blue Soph, who agrees to it because, of course, she wants to continue playing both sides and will just kind of be agreeable to that so that she keeps getting all that information. But Molly, it really feels like to me somehow that the tribe does not realize how close Blue Soph is with Savannah and Rizzo. So how long do you think she can keep this up without getting caught?
Well,
Yeah.
she definitely can make it through this week, right? Because it seems like everybody came to the same page. I think the next vote will, no matter what next episode, she's going to show her cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's going to be able to keep up for too much longer, especially as the numbers dwindle down. It's not going to be like, oh, how is this person not getting a vote? Like, it's obviously going to be like, okay, well, Sophie didn't do that vote then. She's staying on that side. So I think that, like, obviously she's doing a good job of it now, but it's not going to be super sustainable.
Yeah, it's just shocking to me because it's like I guess to me it's like so obvious we constantly see her with them. But I guess when they're around camp she's doing a very good job of talking to everybody and not making it too obvious somehow. But I'm like, gosh, it's just like watching the show, it's like how do you not see it? But I guess their perspective is just totally different.
I feel though, like I said earlier, like that side is not really
Yeah.
seeing the game very clearly. They have their ideas of what they think they want to happen and what will happen, but they're not really seeing everything. And or like maybe even having the thoughts around like, ooh, she was on a tribe with them losing for a long time. Like maybe they have a little bit of a connection and a bond. Like she's not, but it could be because Alex kind of came
Mhm.
over and like so maybe they're thinking that like they would have Sophie like they have Alex, but Alex spent time with some of them. So I just think that they're not great at reading the room.
Yeah, like I feel like if I'm Christina and Steven here, who are kind of like spearheading this plan, I'm thinking, okay, let's give Soph enough information so that we can test her, but not give her like the full plan so that she can rat us out and unravel all of it. Like that would be like how I would, I guess, if I'm not like really sure where she stands, what I would do. But it seems like Christina just kind of told her the full plan, and then
But they
she
all
ran
haven't
back.
voted yet. Actually, that's another thing because of this how the season's
Yeah.
gone. There
Yeah.
hasn't been a vote where everybody is showing their cards yet. You could like have it's always been split, split, split in some sort of way, and so that also doesn't give them extra information just to know who you can trust, who's voting with you, who's lying about what they're doing, and
Mhm.
so I'll give them that they don't have a lot of information yet as to where people stand, and so they could be misreading because of that as well.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's why I hate the split tribal and all this stuff. It's like let them vote so that they can have that information, and then really the game starts. Because it's like you said, until we have that vote where everybody's vulnerable and everyone has to kind of really write down a name and pick a side, then it's like everyone's just kind of tiptoeing around everybody else. But now hopefully that they have had this vote, now the game will really start 10 episodes in.
Do you think we're gonna still have like a rice negotiation like on next episode? Like, he
Probably.
loves that one.
Yeah, yes, letting the rice just go down until somebody makes a decision. Yeah, we'll see, we'll see. But Blue Soph then relays the info that she got from Christina about the split vote plan to Rizzo and Savannah. Rizzo decides that he wants Alex out at this tribal since he has been playing a messy game, trying to play both sides. So he gets to work on shoring up those votes and by telling people information about Alex that has some truth to it, but also some exaggerations and lies sprinkled into. But he wants to create a common enemy in Alex that takes the focus off of him and Savannah. So Chantal, what do you think of Rizzo's plan? Is Alex the right target?
I understand why Rizzo doesn't want Alex in the game. Somebody he even says it, a friend to all is a friend to none. So I could totally get that. I just don't know if he would be my next vote. Like and to get everybody on him. It could be, I'm thinking this through now. It could be because there's only the two blues, and so it would be easier maybe for everybody to come together and vote out a blue. So like if he had decided that Sophie or Blue Sophie was the one that he wanted to do that on, they might be able to come around more easily than it being like a Hina. And so now that I'm thinking it through, that's why he's choosing Alex to get somebody else out other than him and other than a red number. So I guess then actually it might have been the right decision, just because he doesn't really have anybody from his original tribe that would be that mad about him going, other than Blue
Mhm.
Soph, and she's in on the plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess like those relationships that they have with Alex probably aren't as strong as what they have with each other because they just didn't start out together, and so it's probably in his mind easier for to convince them that of lies that Alex is saying because they just maybe don't know him that well, and so they're like, well, I guess I could believe that he would say these things because I wouldn't believe that that Christina would say these things or that whoever would say it, but Alex, sure, yeah, like he has been playing the middle a bit. Like it's just easy to like put that in their minds and watch
Mhm.
the seed grow. So that yeah, I do think that makes sense for them to try Alex there.
Yeah, I agree. I think at this point in the game, especially when they started saying the split tribe, I was like, "This is gonna work," or the split vote. Like I knew once when Rizzo said his idea, I was like, "Okay, this is how I feel. This is how it's gonna go." And obviously, spoiler, that's what happened. But then, like, I feel like with that, like, it's just because people couldn't really combat it. Like, if Alex is kind of he's already playing the middle and only has one other person from his original tribe there, like he doesn't have a ton of people to really back him up there. So it just made sense here. It was kind of like an easy vote, I guess, almost. Like it was like, it wasn't, I don't think, like the best move necessarily, but it definitely works right now for what
Hmm.
Rizzo wanted.
Yeah, anyone who's not the three of them is, I guess, a good move. Anything that allows him to keep his idol for another tribal works for him.
And they
Yeah.
still have, like, their original red numbers. So as much as we know that Jawan and Sage are not on their side, him not going for them is also really good, because
Mhm.
like if that gets back to them, like, he didn't want to start a war, and he kind of just chose
Right.
somebody that was like easy for
Mhm.
everybody to get on the same page about. So in the
Right.
end, I do think it's the right choice for him to make. But there could have probably been some stronger people, but I don't think that he would be able to get the numbers on them.
Right, exactly. Like you said, it's a common enemy, and I think that's, everyone bonds over a common enemy, and so it's the easiest thing to do is just put little seeds of paranoia in everybody's ear about him, and then they all compare notes, and they're like, yeah, he said this about me, he said this, like, this is crazy, he's saying all these things, he's playing such a messy game, and then let's all band together to get him out this round. So it's like, that is, I think it was a very smart way for him to go about it, for sure. Well, then we get to the immunity challenge, and we learn that there will actually be two immunities up for grabs. So, one for the last man standing and one for the last woman standing in this endurance challenge. Steven wins it for the men, and Savannah wins overall and wins for the women. Molly, do you think that if Savannah had not won immunity here, that she would have been the one to go tonight? Did she save herself, or would it have been Alex regardless?
I don't know. That's a good question because I feel like they were kind of playing that up to say like maybe Savannah would have been the one to go home, but I feel like she wouldn't have, especially with all the powers that her side has. But I was really happy that she won this immunity just because I like watching Savannah. And this challenge was hard. Like I was watching them, I was like, wow, like they are strong for keeping up. Like that's core strength, like really hard. They weren't even shaking that hard either for a while. Like I was like, wow, this is good. But I always felt like Savannah had it in her to win this one, especially with her knowing that she was kind of like on the bottom, that she was going to win it. But I do think that eventually, if she doesn't win more immunities, that she will be more of a target here. But for right now, she's staying in the game.
And she's been reminding me a little bit of Parvati. And
Yeah.
so, and Parvati, I believe, won this immunity challenge on Australian Survivor. And
Mhm.
I've
Yeah.
seen, like, I think Shawnee won on her original season of Australian Survivor. And
Same.
so I've seen this challenge before, and the women usually do very well. But I think it's quite funny that I'm like, ooh, like, I kind of think that you have a Parvati vibe, Savannah, like you're also winning similar things that she's winning. So
Mhm.
I'm like, I wonder if she has a even more of a poverty trajectory this season.
True.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe one day we'll see her on a second season and we can tell if she has that Parvati trajectory. Who knows?
I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I saw Shaheen tweet something funny yesterday that was like, now you get a legs challenge. But yeah, no, I think that Savannah, I do feel like she saved herself because I think that, we saw that conversation between Christina and Sage earlier in the episode where they were like really, talking about Savannah and they were like calling her mean girl and things like that. And I just feel like that they would have had a lot of an easier time voting Savannah than like anyone else because they just like it feels slightly personal for some of them at the very least. And so I think that like would probably trump whatever gameplay they may think it's a better move to get Alex. But I think that if they saw Savannah vulnerable tonight, they would have just gone
Go
for it
for it.
because it was both like good for their game and also personal.
100%. And now we didn't really see it, or maybe I just am misremembering, but I don't really know why Savannah was so mean to Sage. Like, is it kind of Sage perception? Is it stuff we haven't seen? Because Sage is like, I could be a mean girl too. And like, Savannah's, yeah, she's a little intense sometimes. Yeah, she wants to play the game. Yeah, she doesn't like Jawan using her bag or using her water bottle, but like, I haven't really seen her be so egregious, especially directly to Sage, for her to have such like a animosity towards her.
Yeah, no, I don't I think we've seen anything either. Like I feel like it's probably not even just like one thing. I think it's just like that Sage probably feels a little bit like condescended to and like there's just kind of like just an air about Savannah, I guess, that she doesn't like. Like it's kind of just like just a personalities clashing thing and not anything like one event in particular, that at least from what we've seen. And maybe, who knows, maybe there's things that we haven't seen, but that's why we love Big Brother when we have day one feeds, because we can see there was nothing that Taylor did to cause the way that the house treated her.
Mm-hmm.
But here it's like, well, we don't know. Maybe Savannah did, maybe she didn't. Like, we have no way of knowing really. But yeah, from what we've seen, that's all we can
It's a
judge. It
one-sided
doesn't
fight.
seem like yeah, it
It
doesn't seem like
seems.
there's been anything.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird that we don't have that context with it being such a big storyline of this season of Sage not wanting to play with Savannah, Savannah not wanting to play with Sage. Like it's just like it's interesting that we don't have that.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe when they can actually talk a bit more once the season's over and they've done exit interviews and things, we'll get more answers to that. But for now, we can only judge what we've seen. And from what we've seen, there hasn't been anything in particular that has seemed that egregious. Uh, but since Savannah is safe, Christina and Steven decide that they just need to flush Rizzo's idol. That they just need to put all the majority votes on him, not do the split. Let's just make him flush the idol or get him out. And they think that he's going to feel safe enough not to play it. But if he does, the backup plan that they come up with is Blue Soph. The problem, though, is Sage and Joanne, because they see that Alex has been playing the middle and they are considering going along with Rizzo's plan instead to get him out, get Alex out now. Now, Chantele, it feels like we have not seen enough of Alex being messy or causing chaos for me to really understand why they're prioritizing him. But what can you at all make sense of why they would go with him over flushing Rizzo's idol?
I think they're just getting cold feet. Like they're claiming that they want to start this battle. They want to get Savannah out, get Rizzo out. They're these big bad players, and they're going to come and get their enemies out. But I think they're just a little bit scared to actually pull the trigger. Like I think because they don't know that they can't stand them right now, and I just don't think that they're ready for the blowback. Like if they take Rizzo out, like having a score in Savannah, like it just like that would be like, because it was already bad enough with Nate, right? Like it didn't seem to blow back on them that much, but I think they're just a little bit shy on doing this, and that's why they easily want to do an easier vote that doesn't show their cards completely, and it could put them in a better position because there a little bit of trust would kind of come there with like, oh no, we voted together, so we're still, but they were Uli strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're still kind of Uli strong. They're kind of working together again, and so it could get them where they need them. But I actually just think that they're scared to pull the trigger.
Yeah. Umali, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say the same with it just being like they're kind of scared and not knowing like who can they really trust at this point too, and seeing that they had flipped over, like there's multiple lines that were drawn that maybe not are sticking there that like you just don't know always.
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things that I've thought about for this. I think that first of all, Blue Soph being the backup target, I think was bad for Sage and Jawan. Because I think that
Mm-hmm.
at least with Sage, maybe not Jawan so much, but with Sage, we've seen her want to work with Soph. And so I think she was a little bit too worried about that, oh, Rizzo's going to use it and then we're going to lose Soph. And she's someone that I've been working on and spending time trying to, get this relationship going. And I think that that was too scary for her. What I don't understand is because I feel like Sage and Jawan could have gone to Christina and Steven and been like, hey, really want to go through with this plan. I just really, I trust Soph. I think we can trust Soph. Like, what if we make Alex the backup target instead? And here's all the things that Alex has been saying about us. Here's all the things that we've heard. Like, he's not one of, we can't trust him. Can we make him the backup plan instead? And then I think that I feel like they could have convinced Christina and Steven to do that. And then they kind of get best of both worlds. Well, it's either you flush Rizzo's idol and either you get him out or you get Alex out, and you're good either way.
I think that might have been what happened, and we might not just have seen it
Mm.
because it's. I think the issue is if they say like, "Hey, Alex should be the backup," but that's what Rizzo wants, so that means that they're going to have the numbers to get Alex out, and so even if you put some numbers on
Oh,
him. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like it just they wouldn't have enough
Yeah.
numbers to get Rizzo out. And so I wouldn't be surprised though if that's what actually happened though, is that they told them like, hey, let's not make Sophie the backup, let's make Alex the backup. And then also on top of it, obviously Rizzo, Savannah, Blue Soph, they put those numbers on him as well. And so he went out without having to use his idol.
Mm.
So I think it might have actually happened. We just didn't see it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I think it's also the case of really bad gameplay. I'm sorry. Like, just throw all the votes on him. Like, just chance it. See what's going to happen. And if you want to split it. Like, just do it. Like, I don't know why they're
Yeah,
shy on doing it. Just do it.
I guess the smart plan would have been to really work on Rizzo and get him to vote the way, and Savannah and maybe even Blue Soap, but they might not realize that she's with them. But like, get them to vote for who you want out, as a backup. Like, if it get them to be like, okay, if he does feel like not comfortable enough where he does use his idol, make sure that you're not going to get the blowback, and make sure that like your closest alliance, like just kind of work on him to maybe like to focus on Alex and make sure that the vote goes on him versus someone on the original Uli. Like, I don't know. I guess like, put all the votes on him, and then just make sure
Mayor
that
have the
he votes
votes
the
on
way you want him
Alex.
to
So,
vote.
like, Alex will go home if he uses his idol. And
Right.
that's it. You find the
Right. That's the
idol.
thing. Is like,
Alex is
yeah,
out.
it's basically like I said, but instead of working on Christina and Steven to vote Alex, work on Rizzo to vote Alex. I guess like that's the difference there. That like that they weren't confident enough that I guess Rizzo was going to vote that way, and I don't
But
know.
Rizzo started the plan to vote out Alex. You know what I mean?
Right, but
So,
I guess it's like, is he telling us the truth? Is he not? Is
oh,
he like, But I just I think you have to take that chance.
like he's already done it a couple of times. Like you know that he is comfortable and capable of not using the idol when his name has been floated around.
Mhm.
I'd just be like, do you know what? He thinks we're all voting for Alex, so let's throw a bunch of votes on him and we'll roll the dice here.
Yeah, I think you have to do that.
Wild.
Yeah.
It is wild. I don't know how he's skated by this far, but he has somehow, and he yet again does not use his idol tonight because Alex is voted out in a vote of 6-2 to 1. Two of those votes were on Soph. One was on Rizzo, but Rizzo yet again keeps his idol. Molly, do you think how long can he go for without using this idol?
I mean, it's crazy he's even lasted this long with that. But just goes to show the other side there is not playing the best game. Because they could have gotten it out long ago if they tried, and they're just not really trying. At least from our perspective. Maybe we're just not seeing those conversations. But I feel like Rizzo's just really lucky that he still hasn't had to play it. I don't know how much this luck is really gonna last. Maybe next week, and maybe that's, I don't know, some big shock we're gonna see, but I don't know. Maybe it's gonna be next week or the week after. I feel like it can't be much longer.
Yeah, I think next week is going to be advantage get in for sure because
Hmm.
they're going to get out who they want to get out next week, and I think it'll be pretty exciting. It'll be awesome if we get the knowledge is power steals an idol, and then they use that idol to like take out one of them. Like that would be really fun, and then Rizzo keeps his idol.
Rizzo is going to be wearing that idol at Final Tribal Council.
I
I
mean, maybe because like he's using it in a way like people are scared to vote. Like if they weren't
Yeah.
scared of him using the idol, they wouldn't be splitting the vote. They wouldn't be like trying to do any fancy footwork. They would just throw all their votes on him. And so he has, for whatever reason, used this idol to scare them away from targeting him. And so it's been working. So it might still work again, especially if an idol is used and one of them gets taken out. They're going to get spooked for sure.
yeah, no, I think that next week also is like it's okay. Now I have to do math, which is troubling. But no, I guess 2 more weeks. Yeah, because at Final Seven they will still not technically have the numbers, but they will with Savannah's
His
extra
extra
vote.
vote.
So next week is really the last week that they have to worry about numbers at all. If it's just the three of them and all the others, work to get the idol flushed or one
But
of them
that's
out.
if they all put the votes on the same
Right,
person.
which is unlikely from what we've seen.
And
So like,
also, I think they might have sort of Yellow Sophie, so they do kind of
mhm.
have a bit of closer to
Yeah, so I
proportion.
mean, at this point, it's like, why not, use all the advantages? Because like after this, like, you really have the numbers, and then so yeah, it does feel like next week they might as well use at least one of those advantages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next week, I predict Blue Soph using knowledge as power, stealing Christina's idol,
Yeah.
and using it on. I don't know who she would use it on
So
though.
but who's going to tell her about Christina's idol?
Christina. I do, and she's gonna be trying
I,
to gain friendship and like power and numbers. She was already talking to her, being like, "Oh, I haven't talked to her that much," and so I think that
mhm.
she's gonna work on her a little bit more. Maybe she's gonna apologize to her for was it her that voted for her? Or who voted? I don't
I
know
have
who
to
their two
look. I
votes were
think
from.
so.
I think Christina was one of them.
I think it was Christina and Steven,
So
right?
Yeah.
that's an apology here. Maybe it's, like,
Hmm.
hey, wasn't trying to get you out. I'm so sorry. Like, both of you guys were from the original Blue, and like, we just split the votes between you two, like, in case whatever. Like, but I think that she might be trying to, or maybe even Steven trying to make nice with Blue Soph, and they might share that information. Or maybe both of them at
Hmm.
the same time. I don't know. But I do think it'll be one of those two, at least, that shares that information with Blue Soph to try to make amends.
I could see it. I could see it. And
I
yes,
see
it
it.
was Christina and Steven voted for Soph, and then Alex voted for Rizzo. So yeah, everyone else voted for Alex. So yeah, I could see that for sure. But Chantel, do you think that Alex could have done anything else here to save himself this week?
Well, he kind of knew that he was in a bit of a pickle. He should have gone and talked to Rizzo. I mean, like,
Hmm.
hey, I heard that you're coming to me. Who told you that? And then, share who told him that and maybe start something different. If you're going to be playing the middle, you got to take the information that you're getting and use it to your benefit, not just like cross your fingers. And so,
Right.
yeah, I would have gone right away once I heard that Rizzo was coming for me. I'd be like, yeah, I heard you're coming for me. So let's change this target because I don't want to go.
Right.
That's what I would have done. I would have tried something.
Yeah, I think that's like, one of the biggest things that I've learned from just watching these shows all these years is that you just have to go straight to the source. And, you judge their reaction, you tell them, what you've heard, and then you can judge their reaction of whether you think they're telling the truth or lying to you. But just going to all these other people and, it never works. It always just convolutes everything, makes it worse. You just have to just go straight to the source, be like, hey, this is what I've heard, is it true or not? What can we do to figure this out and clear the air? And yeah, it feels like that's, maybe he did do that and we didn't see it, but from what we saw, it doesn't seem like he did that. He just kind of like, it made him spin and talk to everybody else, and it never got back to Rizzo. And then yeah, that it made everyone think that what Rizzo was saying was true.
I wonder though if Alex had decided to go. Remember when Nate got blindsided? Like if he
Hmm.
had decided to go with Blue Soph with them and voted with them, if he would have been in a better position in the game. Because I do think if that side had the numbers, and I don't think that they would have plucked him off right now because he would have
Yeah.
been working with them. So maybe him deciding to defect, we'll say, and not join backup forces with Blue Sophie. Maybe that's why he's out before her.
It's crazy to think because at that time we thought, oh my God, Alex is the one who won that battle between Alex and Soph of who chose the best side. And, it seemed like right at that moment, it was like, oh, Alex won that. Soph's on the bottom now. But
Mm-hmm.
now, 2 weeks later, look how much can change.
Yep.
Well, that's unless there's anything that we missed from this episode that y'all want to bring up. I think that is it for this episode. I thought well, just very quickly, the moment of Savannah revealing her job to Soap.
Bum,
That was
bum,
a very funny
bum.
moment. Yeah, it was giving Bronte secret scientist,
We got a
mathematician.
science mathematician or whatever she said.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
no, she
Yeah,
was
it's
making
funny
it
how like
seem.
these people on these shows like, just have this like big secret in their mind, like, that nobody cares. It's like Morgan, secret gamer, is going to be this big reveal at the final two. Like it's like, they play it up in their mind so much that like, oh, they're going to be so shocked, and then it's like, okay.
Also, like a news reporter, like I don't think that's the most like. I mean, I guess because you can talk to people, but like other people can talk to people without being a reporter or like being on the news. That I was just like, why does she try to keep this a secret?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess like it could work in the favor of like, okay, this is something that I'm only sharing with you. Like, I guess I could see it like whatever it is. It could be the smallest thing. It could be I collect blackheads in a jar. It could be anything. Like, just anything that like I'm only sharing this with you makes somebody feel special. So I could see
There's
that. But
that.
like the secret itself,
I
you
think her thoughts about the secret is maybe that she's been on TV and like that's kind of like an
know.
esteemed position. And so maybe they'll think that she doesn't deserve the money as much as everybody else in like if
Mhm.
she's on a television show, So it could be that. A lot of people wouldn't say that they're an actor or that they, do things that are considered to be money making, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like famous. And so yeah, maybe it's just like for a perception of like who she is and how much money she makes. She doesn't want to be like judged by that. Maybe.
Right, right. Or maybe like they think people on TV, yeah, are like a little good actors, fake, or I don't know. There could be
Fake,
like this, yeah, there could be this kind of misperception that she
not
feels
as
like she would.
genuine.
Right. So yeah, it could be a little bit of everything, I guess. It could be, but yeah, I thought that was a funny moment.
Actually, one thing I wanted to ask you guys about, because I completely tuned it out, but I don't know if I can watch tribal councils anymore because I am done with analogies. Like, I am over them. I don't even know what analogies were made this episode because I literally just went, "Ugh," and I just like turned and like I didn't even pay attention.
We got to
So,
choose your own adventure in this episode. We got Stephen being like, "Do you want the space story or do you want the kangaroo story?"
oh, I remember hearing the word kangaroo.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he was like, it was kind of funny though, because he was like, oh, I don't actually have a kangaroo story. I was hoping you would
Yeah,
pick space.
That's funny.
Yeah.
yeah,
But
but they were talking
yeah.
too much about like the eggs and the chicken and all of that. I don't like that either.
Yeah.
It's too much.
I think it was, it used to be more genuine, the analogies where they made sense and they were like, okay, it was, once every few tribals or whatever, you get somebody who's a good storyteller who would, be able to give these analogies. And then I think they just like saw that. And then every year it's just like, this is what people think about before Survivor. What analogies am I going to give in tribal for the game? Like,
So
and it
embarrassing.
just doesn't feel like it feels like we're taking a very windy road to get there to some of these analogies now.
Absolutely. And then also kind of in the same vein, but with like the Christian Hubicki moment that Steven was trying to have during the challenge. I was like, what does he like? Does he usually do this? Does he like always have like all these facts or something like that? Like and just running on a tangent,
Hmm.
or was it just a fully just want to copy Christian? Like what happened
I have
there?
to say, I think I would probably do that too. Not with the facts. I think I would ask Jeff questions. I would be like, okay, there's nothing else to do. Like, okay, on Survivor Micronesia, what did you think when, like, I would just like
You
be
just
asking Jeff
remember,
all
but
of like, I'd just be like interviewing him. Yeah, like that's what I would want to be spending my time doing,
I'll
but
take an
not
interview.
giving him facts. Like, I feel like that's a little different. That's like, what are you getting out of that?
Yeah, because it was like maybe it's not distracting him, like it's actually letting him be in the zone, maybe. But I
Yeah,
just thought it was interesting that I'm like, we never really knew this about him, did we? Or maybe I didn't see it, but that
yeah,
he's
I
like
don't
a
know.
fact sharer or like he's tells stories. Like we knew that about Christian when he did
Hmm.
it in that challenge. So, anyways, I was just like,
Yeah, yeah. And I guess whatever it takes to distract you in a challenge like that, I guess you can't fault them for. But yeah, that was funny. That I thought about Christian too. But speaking of Christian Hubicki, we got a Survivor 50 premiere date this week. We are getting the new season February 25th, and they're also doing fun little like 10 encore episodes leading up to that, which will be fun to watch. But Chantel, what are you most looking forward to with Survivor 50?
To see how old school players adapt to new school style. I just want to see, like, they're not going to complain about anything, I don't think. I feel like they're going to be very, very positive about all the different changes and stuff like that, but I just want to be able to take a look and see how they fit into this new world. I think that'll be kind of exciting. Just mostly for the old school players. Unfortunately, like, I just saw all the new school players, and so like I'm not really that interested in seeing their gameplay. Maybe seeing if there's any old school new school alliances. That could be interesting. Like, who is Sari going to be playing with? I feel like she'll be old school, but like she's also usually friends with everybody. So like, is there going to be some new school people that she's going to play with? Will new school people know who she is? Like, I am curious to see, just maybe the dynamics of old school, new school. But yeah, just for the most part, though, just seeing how the old school adapts to new school Survivor.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that'll be great to see like Colby Donaldson. Can he keep up anymore? Like, it seems like he actually is a fan of the show still, which was shocking to me. But we saw that with the Survivor 50 files that Tina Wesson was saying, yeah, we talk about it after every episode. We talk about it. So I'm like, okay, maybe he'll like be able to keep up more than we thought. But yeah, I'm interested also to see like kind of like the middle school, like the Aubreys of the world. Like, is she going to be more fitting in with the new school, or is she going to be more with the old school? Like, technically, she's been on, she's kind of more towards the new school, but like she's also a 39-day player. So, like, like there's these people who are kind of like the Christians and the Angelinas and Mike White. Like, they're kind of like in that weird gray zone of like, they could go either way. So I think that'll be fun to see, yeah, kind of how all that goes. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I know people were underwhelmed with the cast, and I would not necessarily have put this specific cast together myself, but I'm still very excited. Any Survivor is good Survivor.
Exactly.
Well, Chantal, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can our listeners find you? Do you have anything to plug?
Well, definitely my YouTube channel, Reality Realness with 3 S's. I've been talking about the challenge. So we're on episode 17. Oh my goodness.
Two more,
Almost
I
at the
think, to
end.
go.
I think there's 2 more episodes left of the final and then probably a reunion. So we've been talking about that for sure. And I just actually went live with Chappelle on his channel, Recap Kickback, and we talked about season 2, episode 7 of Flavor of Love. So I had never seen Flavor of Love in real time. I'm from Canada and we didn't have VH1, so I never watched the origin story of Tiffany New York Pollard. And so we decided to take me down memory lane and watch this for the first time. So it's been a blast. Every once in a while, Chappelle's like, do you think you could record your reaction to this episode? And I was like, okay. And so I record my reaction and we
Oh, that's so
do
fun.
watch it together as I react to certain parts of certain episodes. So that's been a really fun time. So definitely go and check that out because we have a good time.
For sure. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. Be sure to follow us at Let's Chat Reality on all social media and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And we will be back next week to talk more Survivor and also Married at First Sight. We will be covering this past season next week. So excited to get into that. It's been a very fun season of Married at First Sight. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Take care, and we will chat with y'all next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.